Good morning, everyone.
Good
Morning,
morning, ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, so how are you, Cyrene? Are you good?
Yes, ma'am, I'm pretty good.
Yes. How about you, Russell?
I'm doing good po, just busy these days.
Okay, nice. So today we're going to talk about, again, modal verbs of obligation and compulsion. So I will show you quotations later, and I would like you to think of its meaning and share it with us. Is that okay?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, great. So this is the first quotation. Celine, please read the quotation.
Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving by Albert Einstein.
Okay. So for you, what does this quotation mean?
Ma'am.
Um,
Yes. Um, okay, Celine.
um, it is the same with people as it is with riding a bike. If you stop, the tendency is you will fall. Sometimes we need to move on because if we dwell on our problems too much, we'll miss all the opportunities to be happy, thus lose the balance of life.
Okay, that's right. Because when we are riding bicycles, the first step is to look forward and to put your feet on the pedal, and then you're going to start riding the bike. So, have you noticed the emphasized word must?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so does this word contributed to the meaning you tried to convey earlier?
Yes, ma'am. I think the word must contributed to how I interpreted the quotation because it highlighted the necessity to continue pedaling.
Okay, that's the use of modal verbs. So in this quotation, must is a modal verb. So what is a modal verb? It is a type of auxiliary verb which expresses modalities such as necessities, uncertainty, possibility, or permission. Well, in this case, um, it expresses the necessity. Riding a bike requires pedaling. So it is necessary to do such, or else the rider will fall. So is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's move on to the next quotation. Okay. I will give you 1 minute to ponder, and then I'll ask somebody to express or interpret what these mean. Okay. Okay. Russell,
Yes, ma'am.
will you please read and try to interpret it?
Okay, ma'am. We should behave to our friends as we should wish our friends to behave to us by Aristotle. So, ma'am, I think it is quite similar to the golden rule of Confucius that do not impose on others what you do not wish for yourself. What you did will eventually come back to you, so it is better to be kind to others.
Yes. So again, the word should. Have you noticed that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now I
Um,
was to ask you if this word helped you in or to come up with your interpretation.
yes, ma'am. I think the word should help to exhibit a form of advice or opinion.
Yes, because it is true that um, it is another modal verb, like we said earlier. It is used to indicate a weaker obligation. It is used to give advice, make a recommendation, probability, and expectation. So should is used if you want to convey that meaning. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, again, Silene, will you try this one?
Yes, ma'am. Love ought to manifest itself in deeds more than in words. By Ignatius of Loyola. I think love isn't just about how we feel on the inside or our good intentions toward another person. Love is also about what we do to show love in action.
Okay, so have you noticed the emphasized word again? Ought to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so does this word alter your interpretation?
Indeed, ma'am, the words ought to manifest an advice as well.
Okay, because it is yet another modal verb. So it is used to indicate a duty or correctness and something that is probable. Okay, so next, Russell, will you please read?
Yes, ma'am. If you want to fly, you have to give up what weighs you down by Roy T. Bennett.
Okay, so please try to interpret it.
Um, I think, ma'am, it is let go of the things you cannot control, and let go of the problems that are not for you to carry. Sometimes, making peace with yourself is the way to move forward.
Okay, so yeah, that's right. Um, Now, have you noticed the word again? Have to. Okay, so it
Yes,
emphasized
ma'am.
the word have to because it kind of changes the meaning. It gives the higher degree of necessity. Okay, so have to is a non-modal verb. It is a non-modal verb to say that something is required or necessary. Now, if you're asking, because earlier we are talking about modal verbs and then we come up with a non-modal verb, I would like to um, explain what's the difference between the two. Is that okay?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So let's talk about modal. Modal verbs, um, like auxiliary verbs, add functional meaning to a sentence to express modalities like likelihood, ability, permission, request, capacity, suggestion, order, obligation, or advice. Although there are plenty of modal verbs to use, we focus on obligation and compulsion, in which these four are in use: must, have to, should, and ought. Now, what do we mean when we say non-modals? Unlike modals like these four, non-modals like have can sometimes be used as has. Modal verbs stick to their forms while non-modal verbs change. So within these four, must, should, and ought are the modal verbs, while have to is a non-modal verb. Why? Again, because have can be changed into has, or had. Is that clear?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So I have another activity. So this time I will give you 2 minutes because it's easier to search online. Um, I want you to look for a quotation containing modal verbs like must, have to, should, and ought. And I will give you 2 minutes now. Okay. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I would like to hear from Russell. Will you please read what you have searched?
Okay, ma'am. I have found the quotation. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. It is by Soren Kierkegaard.
Okay. So will you please tell me what modal verb is used?
The modal verbs that are used in this sentence is the word must.
Okay. So the modal verb that is used is must. Okay. Okay. Silene.
Yes, ma'am. My quotation is a man ought to do what he thinks is right by John Wayne.
Okay. So what is the modal verb used?
The modal verb used in this quotation is ought to.
Okay. So again, another example.
Ma'am.
Yes, Basil.
Um, Life moves on, and so should we, by Spencer Johnson. The modal verb that is used is should.
Okay. Great. Again, um, another example.
Ma'am,
Yes, I.
sometimes you have to do what you don't like to get where you want to be by Tori Amos. The modal verbs that is used is have to.
Okay. So I would like to give my example of a quotation again. So the best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. It is by Helen Keller. Okay, so the modal verb used here is must. Okay, now, what do you think is the connection between um, these quotations, this text, and modal verb?
Ma'am,
Yes, Russell.
ma'am, the modal verbs intensify the meaning of the quotations.
Okay, great. Another?
Ma'am,
Yes.
modal verbs change the mood of the quotations.
Okay, so as we said earlier, it changes the mood, it intensifies Um, it shows obligation and compulsion. So it emphasizes the expression of the speaker as well, because when we use modal verbs, um, as we said, it shows obligation, the must and the need to do something. Okay, so great job, everyone. And that ends our discussion. I hope you learned a lot today. And thank you. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.